No one expected the most shocking moment of the night to happen off script, and yet, in the middle of flashing cameras and roaring fans, it did. Sam Heughan, standing just steps away from the spotlight at the Outlander premiere, was suddenly seen leaning in and kissing a woman no one could identify. It wasn't part of the show, not a staged photo, not a playful gesture. It was real, quick, and unmistakably intimate. And within seconds, the atmosphere shifted from celebration to stunned confusion. The premiere itself had started exactly as expected, glamorous, controlled, and filled with the kind of energy that surrounds a global hit series. Fans lined the barriers, cameras flashed non-stop, and every movement from the cast was carefully followed by the media. Sam, as always, appeared composed and confident, greeting fans, posing for photos, and moving through the event with the ease of someone who had done this countless times before. Nothing about his behavior suggested that anything unusual was about to happen. But then, in a brief moment away from the main cameras, captured from a slightly off angle by someone in the crowd, everything changed. Sam stepped closer to a woman standing just outside the immediate press circle, someone dressed elegantly but without the usual signs of a public figure. There was a pause, almost like a quiet exchange that went unheard, and then, without hesitation, he leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't exaggerated or dramatic, it was subtle, natural, and that's exactly what made it impossible to ignore. What followed was a ripple of reactions that spread almost instantly. A few nearby onlookers froze, unsure of what they had just witnessed, while others scrambled to capture the moment before it disappeared. Within minutes, the clip began circulating online, and once it hit social media, it exploded. People replayed it, slowed it down, zoomed in, analyzing every frame as if the truth could be uncovered in the smallest detail. The biggest question wasn't just about the kiss, it was about her. The mystery woman didn't match any familiar faces from Sam's known circle, at least not publicly. She wasn't introduced, didn't step forward, and seemed to blend back into the crowd almost immediately after the moment passed. That disappearance only made things more intense, as if she had been part of something that was never meant to be seen. As fans began dissecting the footage, they noticed details that made the situation even more intriguing. The way Sam approached her didn't feel spontaneous, it felt comfortable, almost practiced, as if this wasn't the first time they had shared a moment like this. There was no hesitation, no awkwardness, just a quiet confidence that suggested familiarity. And that detail alone shifted the narrative from unexpected to something far more complicated. At the same time, the setting made everything harder to explain. This wasn't a private dinner, not a hidden corner of a city where such a moment could pass unnoticed. This was a high-profile premiere, filled with cameras, fans, and media outlets ready to capture anything out of the ordinary. For something so personal to happen in a space like that raised an entirely different kind of question. Was this truly accidental, or had he simply stopped caring about being seen? Some fans immediately jumped to conclusions, convinced they had just witnessed the confirmation of a secret relationship. Others pushed back, suggesting it could have been a misunderstanding, a greeting misinterpreted, a brief moment taken out of context. But the clarity of the footage made that argument difficult to hold onto. The kiss, no matter how brief, looked intentional. And yet, what made the moment even more powerful was what happened right after. Sam didn't react with panic, didn't try to hide or explain. He simply stepped back, composed himself, and continued as if nothing unusual had occurred. That calmness added another layer of mystery, because it suggested that, to him, this wasn't a mistake, it was just a moment. Now, with the clip spreading across the internet and millions of viewers forming their own interpretations, one thing has become clear. This wasn't just another celebrity sighting, not just another rumor waiting to fade. It was a moment that cracked open a part of Sam Heughan's life that had remained carefully guarded for years. And the more people watch it, the more one question refuses to go away: who was she, and why did that one brief kiss feel like it revealed so much more than it showed? As the footage continued to circulate, the focus quickly shifted from the kiss itself to the identity of the woman at the center of it all. Within hours, online communities began doing what they do best: analyzing, comparing, and digging through past appearances in search of any clue that could connect her to Sam Heughan. Some claimed they had seen her before in earlier events, standing just outside the spotlight, while others insisted she was completely new, someone who had never been linked to him in any public way. The mystery only deepened as more angles of the moment surfaced. In one clip, she appeared to smile just before the kiss, as if anticipating it rather than reacting to it. In another, her body language suggested comfort, even familiarity, standing close without hesitation in a setting where most people would naturally keep a certain distance. These subtle details fueled a growing belief that this wasn't a random encounter, it was something established, something real. Soon, theories began to take shape, each one spreading rapidly depending on who was sharing it. Some fans were convinced she was a long-term partner Sam had intentionally kept out of the public eye, someone he had chosen to protect from the pressures of fame. Others speculated she might be connected to the industry in a quieter role, a producer, a stylist, or someone working behind the scenes. And then there were those who believed this could all be a misunderstanding, a moment exaggerated by timing and perspective. What made this situation different from previous rumors was the undeniable visual proof. In the past, speculation about Sam's personal life had often been based on vague sightings or unconfirmed reports. This time, there was footage, clear enough to spark belief, but incomplete enough to leave room for doubt. And that combination created the perfect storm, where certainty and uncertainty existed side by side. As media outlets began picking up the story, the tone shifted from curiosity to something more intense. Headlines framed it as a secret relationship revealed, while others leaned into the mystery, emphasizing how little was actually known. Interviews from past years resurfaced, where Sam had spoken about valuing privacy and choosing to keep certain parts of his life separate from his public image. Those statements, once seen as standard responses, now felt like pieces of a larger puzzle. Then came a detail that complicated everything even further. A source, unconfirmed, but widely shared, suggested that the moment might not have been as spontaneous as it appeared. According to this version, the woman had been present at multiple events in recent months, always just out of frame, always close but unnoticed. If true, it would mean this wasn't a sudden revelation, but a gradual story that had only now been captured in a way that couldn't be ignored. Still, not everyone was ready to accept that narrative. Some fans pushed back, arguing that assumptions were being built too quickly, that a single moment, no matter how clear, shouldn't define an entire story. They pointed out how easily context can be lost in short clips, how meaning can shift depending on what is seen and what is missing. And in that resistance, a different kind of conversation began to form, one about privacy, boundaries, and how much of a person's life truly belongs to the public. Through all of this, Sam Heughan remained silent once again. No statement, no clarification, no attempt to either confirm or deny what people believed they had seen. That silence, as always, became part of the narrative itself. For some, it felt like quiet confirmation, a choice not to hide but also not to explain. For others, it was simply consistent with who he has always been, someone who shares what he chooses, and nothing more. Now, the story hangs in that space between revelation and mystery. The kiss happened, that much is undeniable. But everything around it, everything that gives it meaning, remains uncertain. And perhaps that's what makes it so compelling, because it forces people to confront not just what they saw, but what they believe it means. Is this the beginning of a relationship finally stepping into the light, or just a moment that the world has expanded into something bigger than it was ever meant to be? For now, there's no clear answer, only a question that continues to pull people in, one replay at a time.